Now, the Saints Row series is an odd series, the only series where the main protagonists graduate from delinquent street gangsters to domestic terrorists to an international celebrity corporate brand and then to alien fighting politicians. Now, when your series take all of these comically wild turns, it eventually end up at a dead end, leaving fans wondering, why did my favorite franchise go off the rails like this? But honestly, when your last release in your franchise ends in a gang overthrowing an alien overlord who has the galaxy in his fingertips, there's really no way you can branch off from that. Like, honestly, just give it some thought. How can you possibly add a sequel to that? And that's where the reboot comes in. It may not be what we wanted. It does look a little cheesy, but it's damn sure what the series needed. Now let's start at the beginning and see how the series ran into a dead end, resulting in a reboot.
That's the great thing about this city. It's there for the taking, if you've got what it takes. Saints Row, coming soon.
Head up, somebody gon' get laid down. Head up, but the music will fall pounds. Head up, ain't no need to know me well. We can get the drummer poppin', homie, I won't tell. Head up, somebody.
Héctor says buenas noches.
Ain't no need to know me well. We can get the drummer poppin', homie, I won't
Welcome
tell.
to Saints Row, the home of the gun clappers, more time criminals, sneak thievers and carjackers. Where the streets fight back and shootouts are bound to happen. Ain't nobody scrapping all of these killers. It's taking action, gang wars, yeah, we bang to the death. Gaining respect in the intelligent city. Think smart and wear your best. Watch your right just as well as your left. Cause 9 out of 10 times we'll creep from behind and blow the tech. Heat holding, whips stolen while police is patrolling. Flashing they lights, telling us to pull over. We keep going on a high speed, chasing the law. Out on parole, swerving out of control with the gas pedal to the floor. On a death wish, driving reckless with no headlights. Running through roadblocks and we ain't stopping at red lights. That's how the game goes. Switch up and change clothes. Watch your back when you walk through the streets of Saints Row, nigga.
Head up,
Somebody gon' get laid down.
head up,
Whether music or 4 pounds.
head up,
Ain't no need to know me well. We can get the drama poppin', homie, I won't tell.
head up,
Somebody gon' get laid down.
head up,
Whether music or 4 pounds.
head up.
Ain't no need to know me well. We can get the drama poppin', homie, I won't
Into the
tell.
real world where corrupt cops and vigilantes lurk. Henchmen put in position to do my handiwork. Mob bosses hire hitmen to get your family murked. No matter right or wrong, remember to put your family first. We in the gutter, watching for undercover, slinging butter. Posted up on the corners, me and my brothers. Sex, money, and drugs, the hungriest thugs. Sleep with my burner and wash with my gun in the tub. Posted up in the back.
Head up,
Ain't no need to know me well. We can get the drama poppin', homie, I won't tell.
Now, Saints Row 1 and 2 are the grand forefathers of the series, the most beloved combo that propelled the series into mainstream popularity. And with some gamers embracing these titles with open arms and begging THQ to take their money, other gamers just didn't see the potential, seeing the first Saints Row game as a mere GTA clone. And some Saints Row fans didn't seem to see it that way, seeing the 2006 release as a uniquely designed game with its own ideas and storylines. Me personally, as somebody who is deeply in love with this franchise, with a lot of times invested in these games and damn near reaching 100% completion in Saints Row 1 and 2, I can definitely see the resemblance between GTA San Andreas and the original Saints Row 1. Now, Rockstar's San Andreas released in 2004 on the PS2 and the original Xbox, and Saints Row released in 2006 on that era's next-gen console, the Xbox 360. At this time, the GTA series was well established, known as the frontrunner for open-world action-adventure games, with 5 published titles produced and on the market. And gamers really loved these titles. So did some gamers really think that another company other than Rockstar wasn't going to step in and attempt to make an open-world game of their own? And to be fair, there were different open-world games on the market going in the same direction as San Andreas. Titles like True Crime LA and New York, 25 to Life, and 50 Cent Bulletproof. Now, these titles are ultimately different and have their own uniquely created storylines, but all of their titles are basically in the same genre, the gangster rap genre, the genre that is heavily infested with gang culture. Tall tees, baggy pants, big chains, big spinners, and lowriders. All of these things were popular throughout the early 2000s, the era that all of these titles released in. So for some similarities to arise in these games that dramatize reality, it shouldn't really be a big deal. But I would be extremely naive to believe that GTA San Andreas didn't have an ounce of influence on Saints Row's development, and Saints Row came up with all of their ideas out of their own merit, it's not really a realistic thought. Now, there's nothing wrong with being influenced by a bigger title or publisher to make a product in the same genre. A lot of the times when somebody achieves an accomplishment in their field, they tend to name the person or thing that influenced them the most. Now, how come out of all of these titles, Saints Row was the one to be stuck with the lame title, the GTA clone? Maybe it's because in the first Saints Row game, you and the other protagonists are in a street gang, just like the protagonist CJ from San Andreas. And the fact that the Saints can claim territories in the same fashion as the Grove Street gang, even though the Saints Row version was more of a side mission and GTA's was more of a survival minigame. But that's besides the point. Also, when you die, it says smoke, like GTA's Wasted. But I don't believe that this was enough to dub this game a GTA clone. What I do believe is the reason for Saints Row earning this unruly name is the fact that Saints Row was actually a valid contender for GTA, alongside with the uncanny similarities, but open world games have come and gone, and the only one to truthfully stand side by side with GTA was Saints Row. Both titles are over the top violent action adventure games, and both titles get praised for their distinct creativity. And I honestly think that these two game series have established their own identity and fan base, and with every fan base comes the die-hard fans, the fans that have an extreme bias toward the game that they value the most. With Saints Row die-hard fans valuing the franchise for its over-the-top crazy violence with witty humor that still maintains a level of seriousness, not to mention all of the likable characters that we've seen throughout the franchise. And the GTA die-hard fans standing on Rockstar's overwhelming resume and catalog of titles, saying, "Settle down, young peasants, this game is no more than an unworthy clone, an apprentice of expertise." And this type of back and forth in the community is not a bad thing. Trash talking was always a vital part of the gaming community.
Same old
Johnny Gat.
Buster, straight Buster.
That wasn't very nice.
It drives competition, and competition drives better quality titles. Now let's be honest, aside from the gamers who will literally die for either Saints Row or GTA, the majority of fans of Saints Row franchise are also fans of the GTA franchise, and the majority of the fans of the GTA franchise are also fans of the Saints Row franchise. The argument between the two only rose because it's fun to engage in banter about which franchise is better, and upon the release of Saints Row 2, THQ Nordic dived straight into this friendly banter with this ad right here.
Would you rather go bowling or steal a septic truck and spray loads of sewage on pedestrians? Would you rather go to the cabaret with a friend or inflict serious bodily injuries to your friend to earn a little insurance money? Would you rather watch TV within the game you're playing on your TV? Or dress up like a cop and rob a liquor store? Streak in public? Join an illegal fight league? Or run security for local celebrities? Or base jump? Car surf? Trailblaze? Compete in demolition derbies? Barnstorm? Or tons of all new activities that totally kick ass? Now we know you're out there doing those other things right now, and that's fine. But when you're done, we'll be right here, doing some crazy
With this ad being posted in June of 2008, 2 months after the release of GTA 4, promoting THQ's October release, Saints Row 2, basically saying that, yeah, we might be in the same space, but we're the more extreme. We take an average setting and add this element of insanity to it. But in Saints Row 1 and 2, this element of insanity was harnessed with a sense of realism. And this combination was the reason why I love Saints Row 2 so much. In Stillwater, you had the access to these crazy, unrealistic missions that were fun to play, but the main premise of the game was still grounded in reality. And when Saints Row stepped away from the sense of realism, they stepped away from what the OG fans loved the most, the Saints being no more than a street gang, battling rival gangs for territory. In comes Saints Row 3, November 15th, 2011. The Saints are still a gang. technically, it's more of a corporate branded game, graduating from the gritty streets of Stillwater to the streets of Steelport. Not to rebuild the Saints' reputation like in the old titles, but to maintain their reputation. From 2008 to 2011, the Saints had ascended from reckless street gangsters to international corporate celebrities. The 3rd Street Saints is now a brand, starring in movies, Japanese commercials, and selling merch. The Saints have gone corporate. But the word on the street is that the Saints have gone soft. They lost what it means to be a true gangster. And the other gangs of Steelport want to take their spotlight. And in the battle for the spotlight, the extremeness ramped up to the highest degree we've seen yet. And Saints Row 3 was the first title in the franchise to go off the rails like this. Yeah, the Saints characters they're the same, with some additions to the game, but they feel a little more goofy, if you will. It must be the new celebrity personalities, but a lot of the OGs would say this is where the series went wrong, and I agree with them. Until I looked at the reviews. People love this game, so now I have to ask myself as a consumer, if I had created Saints Row 3, and according to the reviews, my fans love this game, but then again there's another subsection of fans asking me to go back to my roots of the first 2 Saints Row games. Now, should I embrace the new over-the-top celebrity identity of the Saints? Or should my next title revert to the true gangster ways of Saints Row? Now, if it was my decision, as much as I love Saints Row 1 and 2, I'ma have to leave these games in the past. Now, let's be realistic about it. This game is not a flop. Saints Row 2 sold over 3.4 million copies in a year. And now Saints Row 3 sold over 5.5 million copies in a year. This franchise is ascending at this point. So you're telling me from a business perspective that you're going to risk going back in your franchise to impress older fans that have already witnessed the potential? It's not a wise move. At the end of the day, these games we all love and enjoy are businesses trying to drive sales and reach as many eyes as possible. And if the product is good, the results will show. And when the reviews are looking like this, you got to be doing something right, because you know damn well the community will let them hear it. Now, Saints Row 4. A lot can be said about this game. Started off as a street game. That was fun. We did the celebrity thing for a while, but that wasn't enough. How about becoming the president? That'll really top the series off, huh? At this point, it's apparent that there's nothing that the Saints can't do. But as the Saints are placed into their new role as politicians, with the boss being the elected president, a surprising visitor from outer space appears and captures the Earth and places the new elected president in a simulation. Now, I can go down the rabbit hole of how this game's campaign mode is completely off the walls and how you're basically playing as a superhero, but I feel like you already get the gist. This franchise's storyline has strayed so far from where they once began and have consistently ramped up the extremeness to the point where the story will only make sense if it were to take place in a simulation. Which it did, in fact. In a simulation. Inside a simulation. Now, if you're like me, when you were exposed to this game, you probably thought, what is this? This is not a Saints Row game. Please, for the love of God, write a script that actually revolves around gangsters. Please go back to the old time. There's no one who actually thinks this game is good. Until I looked at the reviews. 4.3 out of 5 stars on the Xbox store. People love this game. You don't get ratings like that without making a good product. And these reviews are from actual verified buyers. People who actually played this game. And this is where I have to surrender my points and realize that the Saints Row OG fans and I have been left behind. Stuck in 2008, enjoying a game that we all enjoy, that was just about being a street gangster. But the franchise has moved on. It has ascended into something different, something more wacky. And if we aren't willing to embrace it, it's a lot of other players that will. And one thing that I can say about Saints Row 4, the creative element is off the charts. You can literally be anything you want. If you want to be a toilet, be a toilet. If you want to be a sex doll, not my preference, be a sex doll. And that's why I think that the Saints Row games are so highly rated. It provides the freedom to design your own personal character with an ample amount of other options that we aren't used to seeing in any other games. Now, with that being said, based on all of the Saints Row titles, ratings, and sales, no matter what opinions people may have, Saints Row hasn't missed a beat yet. None of these titles have flopped. Even though some people may not like the direction that the franchise is taking, overall, these titles are highly rated and sold pretty well. So if all of the Saints Row titles did pretty good, that must mean that the reboot is destined to be a pretty good title as well, right? I'll say it's debatable. Yeah, the Saints Row franchise has a good track record, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the reboot will be as good as the other titles. Saints Row has had a constant 2 to 3 year interval between each release, but now Saints Row hasn't dropped a project in about 9 years. And I believe that this happened because Saints Row 4 was so outlandish that it left nowhere to go from that point. The series has hit its peak, so with nowhere to go, the only way to put Saints Row back on the map is with a reboot. But when your reboot isn't liked by the fans, and your fans being very vocal about it in the first release of your trailer, you now have a problem. And I think that the problem the majority of the fans had was with the selection of characters and new faces. These guys aren't what you picture when you think of Saints Row. These guys sort of look like liberal tech nerds. I feel that they might have selected characters that don't necessarily fit the role. The Saints from the old titles were all well-liked characters, and when you replace Gat, Pierce, and Shaundi with these guys, it might not sit well with the fans of the franchise. And I'd admit, when I first saw the trailer, I didn't like it strictly based on the characters alone. But as I saw more gameplay drop, I started to think this game might not be as bad. It's a change of pace and the gameplay doesn't look bad at all. And the character creation is still in the franchise, which is a definite plus. I will be copping it at release. I'ma get it just because I've witnessed Saints Row be able to switch it up throughout the years and still make a product that people enjoy. I remember seeing the Saints Row 4 trailer and thinking, this game is buns. But one day it was on sale for probably about $10 and I thought to myself, why not give this game a chance? Saints Row 2 is my favorite, but Saints Row 4 was a fun game to play. It wasn't what I was used to seeing out of the series, but I did enjoy playing the product. And that's a common theme I've grown to realize in Saints Row. Whatever direction they choose to take the game in, it's always going to be a fun game to play. And that's what really matters. So I do have faith in Deep Silver to make the new Saints Row a fun, memorable title. Let me know if you have any opposing opinions in the comment section below. I appreciate you. And for all my Saints fans, please,
it's gonna get worse.
Please.
It's gonna get better. Trust me.
please keep it gangster.
It's not me and my bitch, it's me and my 6, me and my P90 and 2 of them clips. Holla at me, my niggas put it in for the chips. They'll kill for the bricks, turn them into whips. With the shiny shoes, you know how they do. It's not just a job, it's a hobby too.
Somebody bet on the bay. The Camptown ladies sing this song. Doo-dah, doo-dah. The Camptown race.
Wonder if Monica Hughes is as much of a sweetheart as her husband was.
I come down here with my hat caved in. Doo-dah, doo-dah. I go back home with a bucket full of tea. Oh, doo-dah day. Want to run all night. Want to run all day. I'll bet my money on a bobtail hat. Somebody bet on the bay. Bet on the bay. Bet on the bay. Doo-dah day. And a big black horse, doo-dah, doo-dah. Divide a track in a boat, cut cross, oh, doo-dah day. The blind horse stuck in a big mud hole, doo-dah, doo-dah. And touched bottom with a 2-6 10-foot pole, oh, doo-dah day.